reached out to local political leaders about this sudden dropout from President Biden. NBC5's Lauren Preto has more on what they had to say.
Americans should be paying attention now if we weren't before.
On Sunday, President Joe Biden announced his decision to drop out of the presidential election through a letter posted to X. In his letter, President Biden says he believes it's in the best interest of his party and the country for him to step down. Local political leaders, including State Senator Jeff Golden, State Representative Pam Marsh, and Oregon Congressman Cliff Bentz, had mixed reactions.
Well, it was surprise. I think the trends had been certainly strongly suggesting that this was going to be the outcome.
My initial reaction was relief. I think Joe Biden would lose an election now, almost whatever happens between now and November. I don't want that to happen. I don't want Donald Trump as the next president to be partisan and frank about it.
We were pretty sure that that there were serious things challenging the president, is the way I'm going to put it. So it was not a big surprise.
President Biden endorsed his vice president, Kamala Harris, to step in as the nominee for the Democratic Party in a later post. He says Harris has been an extraordinary partner. Golden, Marsh, and Bentz agree that Harris was the most likely choice for Biden.
What else could he do? He was stuck, and so for I'm sure he wouldn't put it quite that way, but it would have been very, very awkward for him not to have endorsed her.
There seems to be a negative perception of her generally that I don't quite understand, but I think her values are good. I think she's smart. I think it would have been chaos and impossible to move forward had the party passed over her for somebody else.
We voted for Harris when we voted for Biden. We've already validated her. So I think she's a very solid choice.
Biden's decision comes just weeks before the Democratic National Convention.
There's huge disarray in the Democrat Party over who should be their candidate.
I think it's not ideal. That's why we have a system of primaries. But I think the time is very adequate. The Democratic Convention is still 5 or 6 weeks away, so there's plenty of time to put the convention together.
The decision also follows former President Donald Trump's assassination attempt in Pennsylvania earlier this month. But political leaders feel like the writing was on the wall before that.
The events that have happened in the other party may not have been the most important factors here. It really may be the introspection that is required when you're making such a giant decision.
I think there's going to be a bump in former President Trump's polling, and as a result of that truly unfortunate event, and also because of the convention, and that those things may have weighed into his decision. But frankly, I think it was probably his physical condition.
It seems to have solidified more support for the former president and made the task even look more daunting. He kept focusing on his record of the last 4 years. And that's not what's relevant to people who are worried. It's the next 4 years. And there was plenty more moving parts that were pointing to him taking himself out of the race.
Reminding folks to vote this November. Lauren Preto, NBC5 News.
And U.S. Senator Ron Wyden also released a statement in part, quote, "I've been proud to work with President Biden on a record of Democratic successes these past 3.5 years. I'm all in to support Vice President Harris with all my energy to go forward, building on that impressive record and defeating Donald Trump, a convicted felon who wants to yank America backward," end quote.